Welcome back, everybody. While this next talk, I wish you could improve my personal health. Unfortunately, I can't. But it is titled Improving Your Company's Health with Middleware and Takeout. I give you Banu Parasuraman.
Thank you for the introduction. Hi, and welcome to this session of Wipro Digitals. And the title may sound something to do with health, but yes, it's company's health, right? And this is about improving your company's health with Middleware Takeout. So one of the key things with middleware is that it actually is costly in the long run, right? So what we will be talking about is how you would supplement or complement it with products from Spring, okay? Now, I would like to send my kudos to the team who made this happen. I'll be showcasing you a product that we have also created, which can be deployed. It's based on open source, and it can be deployed on any cloud, right? Either on-prem or public cloud. So that said, and this again is something that we have done because of the use of VMware Tanzu and all of its capabilities. We were able to get an idea in and complete that idea and make it a general availability within 3 months, right? So it was quite quick because of VMware Tanzu and Spring products we used. Now, what is middleware, right? So you see the angriest programmer meme here, right? When you ask anybody when you ask him what's the difference between a library and a middleware, you get an answer after a long pause saying that it's a $25,000 and a middleware and a department, a marketing department, right? That's essentially what middleware is. So why do you want to spend that much for your middleware? And that's the question that I pose to you. Right? There are ways you can get rid of your middleware, and not all middleware can be replaced, but there are certain things that are basically based on legacy frameworks that you can target to replace, and that will actually improve the value within your organization. So what's the agenda for today? So I'll be talking about the middleware challenges, the approach to modernization, and the implementation journey, of course, right? So how do you make it enterprise ready, enterprise grade? How do you deploy it to your enterprise? This production grade Spring products, if you will. Right, so you have been listening to various conversations around Spring Cloud Data Flow, and I think by now you have been familiar with Spring Cloud Data Flow, and our product is based upon Spring Cloud Data Flow, right? So before we go to that, what's the new normal for the enterprise today, right? No longer it is traditional waterfall and all that, it's all agility. I want to get things done now. I want it to be modular. I want it to be integrating new technologies, right? You got Kubernetes in the mix. I want to reduce vendor lock-in. So no longer is I'm going to be preferential to a specific vendor, right? So I want to be able to get the best for my company. Cost efficiency. I want to reduce operational costs. So why should I pay lots for my operations? Right? Drive towards per use fees. I want to be able to pay per use, right? I don't want to pay lump sum up front and then expect the product to work, right? I want to be able to do it per use. Drive new capabilities for less. Management side, I want to reduce operational complexity, simplify the management across projects, provide greater flexibility and portability, and also provide observability to various integrations and the various environments that I have. And finally, I would also like to be cloud native, as this is the hottest thing today, right? So I want to be elastic, I want to be highly available, I want to be multi-cloud portable, and I want to increase release velocity, right? Release velocity is nothing but create projects and create deployable components or products in a very short time, right? So that you can meet the needs of the business. So this is what's happening. This is what is happening in the marketplace today, right? There are certain platforms that are growing, certain platforms that are slowing. Message-oriented middleware like TIBCO, WebSphere MQ, MQ series are fading away. ESPs like TIBCO, Oracle Fusion, Web Methods are also fading away and moving into a more either SaaS or containerized model. right? You have the integration brokers like in IIB and Informatica, everybody targeting the containerization space, like Kubernetes, right? They're also looking at SaaS-based models. App servers like WebLogic and WebSphere, JBoss, all of them are kind of falling way into a more iPaaS and SaaS-based model. Right, you have in-memory data grids like data fabrics and data virtualization tools that are also growing up. But the old way of doing data fabric is also fading away and giving rise to new kinds of models for data fabrics, for example. Right, complex event processing is rising up. Now, again, what are the current trends in integration? Right, it's modular, open, and supporting various kinds of business modules, right? Like ESP, data integration, ETLs, PPM. They want to be open. You want to implement production grade open source. No longer is open source considered, something fringe, but you have production grade open source. For example, Spring Framework, right? You have identification from Pivotal or VMware for Spring. It's based on open standards, supports integration patterns. It's lightweight, containerizable, on-premise, and cloud-ready, mobile-ready. So now the question I pose to you is, does your current legacy middleware meet these requirements? If not, you got to start thinking about how you will replace them, right? So that's the question. So what's the common set of challenges with the legacy middleware? Of course, licensing is a big challenge. Shared library, right? The old model was you have one instance of your two instances, or a hybrid or a high availability set of instances for middleware, and everybody jumps on it. All apps, everybody, every project. And then, so what happens is somebody creates a shared libraries and uses and allows it to be used by others, and now you lose ownership of those shared libraries. So, and project complexity. Everybody's dependent on everybody else, right, for release of their project, and then product complexity. These products were created with everything in mind, right? So sometimes you may just use a piece of it, but you have to buy the whole thing. Operational complexity. Again, with a complex product, you actually get an operations complexity. You have to train your people, right, with this new legacy. And of course, after you train them, 5 years down the line, you may see another product. And again, you've got to start the training process. It's an elastic, right? You're deploying it to a VM, and it's a monolith. Therefore, it's an elastic, right? Now, this leads to increased tech debt, right? So you're not keeping with the trends now, with the trends in the market, that's going on around the world. So your tech debt increases, time to market increases, production-centric business model, because now you're designing business models based upon the product's capabilities and limitations. Training cost goes up, and operation cost goes up, and business agility goes down, right? So you're waiting for other projects to happen before yours can go in. Prioritization is an important factor here. So what are we seeing in our clients, right? So they're migrating from app service, ESBs, message-oriented middleware, data fabric, and ETLs. And some of these are listed here. And this is what we see in our clients, right? What do we recommend? We recommend an approach to middleware based on return on value. And return on value is not return on investment only, right? Return on investment is a piece of return on value. And therefore, our return on value comprises the entire organization's, the training, the agile methodologies, and how fast you release your product, how's your operations, are you able to respond to any of the tickets, if you will, as quickly as possible. So those are all part of the return of value, right? So basically, initially, return on investment would have been good, but now we want you to look at return on value, and that's why this is kind of important. So modernize your legacy middleware using an approach that maximizes return on value. So what we propose is a multiple kind of phases or approaches, right? The phase one, you can do a lift and shift. You're going to expend cost, but there is not much value in return other than elasticity, which the business doesn't see, right? The business is happy with the way it is. Phase two, you try to refactor it I'll go through each one of these, and then you spend money, but much less value. Phase 3, replace. Again, you spend, but you get more or less equal amount of value. But when you transform, implement new architectures, that's where you see more value. Right? Phase 1, lift and shift. You can move your middleware if they have a Docker image like TIBCO or web methods. You can move them into a Kubernetes environment and be done with it. Right? So that is one way of you gain your elasticity. You gain, and of course, if you use TKG, you have your Tanzu Ops Manager. And what we're going to introduce now is the Snap, or Cloud Native Acceleration Platform. Okay, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we go through. Of course, refactor is another way. Basically, you keep the middleware, slowly strangle it away using Spring integration and Spring framework. Again, use Kubernetes and TKG in your implementation. This will allow you to slowly migrate away from the legacy middleware. Of course, phase 3 is replace. Now you're thinking about, okay, I just want to take away my licensing and I just want to reduce costs of licensing. And now I want to introduce an alternative. And Spring Cloud Data Flow is the alternative for you, right? It is an orchestrator kind of, which allows you to orchestrate and leverage multiple components to enable your integrations. Okay, and finally, transform. Transform where you change your architecture from an integration-based approach to an event-driven approach using 12 factors. This makes your environment much more flexible and adaptable, right? What can you migrate? Again, we're giving you an idea based upon our Snap solution. It's based upon our Snap solution is based upon Spring Cloud Data Flow, Spring Data REST, etc. And you can migrate your ESPs, app servers, data integration layers, and ETLs from this. Wipro Digital in Spring, driving a value for our customer. And we empower production-grade open-source software. So we work with Spring, and we bring in Spring. We work with VMware, bring in Spring. They provide that identification for components, and we also provide identification for components that we modify, if you will. We harden the solution to make it production-grade, and we certify. And we have certified and trained resources. Okay. We also participate in open-source projects. How can our practice up? So we avoid vendor lock-ins. We empower developers to choose the right tools that are production grade, prepared to capitalize on modern IT trends such as Kubernetes and GitOps. And GitOps, by the way, is gaining steam. And then balance operations and innovations. And we leverage accelerators that we have built based upon a use case, based upon a client. Right? What does this stack look like? So we have developer tools, we have management tools, sitting on any platform. We prefer VMware Tanzu, and both on-prem and on public cloud. And we automate using help charts and Terraforms, and we integrate using the various tools like Spring Cloud Data Flow. In certain cases, like in ADI, which is much more complex, we leverage Delboomi, for example. And then Kafka is another event-driven architecture tool that we use. Then acceleration, right? So we use different code generation tools, like, for example, Spring Data REST. And those of you who are not aware of it, I would advise you to look at our sessions that talk about Spring Data REST, wherein you can just, you don't have to code while exposing your data as APIs, for example. Vertex is another tool that we use. Activity is a BPM tool. Vertex is a very interesting tool, allows you to do very much similar to Spring Reactor. In certain cases, we use Vertex, certain cases, we use Spring Reactor, but both do the same thing in terms of providing you the ability to do reactive programming. And most of you who have attended reactive programming would know that reactive programming is a way to improve your transactions volume as well as transactions speed for integrations, right? And the features, of course, this is a pay-as-you-go approach. And of course, you can leverage vendor products based on their value proposition. So we bring in vendor products based, like, for example, Delboomi, based upon the value proposition they bring. In this case, for example, EDI. right? And then modular microservices based and container ready and open source with identification benefits. Basically, you get project velocity, developer productivity, and business agility, right? Now, sample implementation, you can take any source and any target, and you can apply this snap on that is running on VMware Tanzu or any other Kubernetes platform, and then make it work, right? So you can have any of these transactions that you see. And we would prefer that you apply this for your internal integrations more than for external integrations. While external integrations is good, but then you'll have to have additional products like Apigee or API Gateway to help you with managing traffic from external. Okay, so what does Wipro Digital Cloud Native Consulting do, right? So we bring in subject matter experts. We bring in industry standards and best practices. We help mitigate migration, open source adoption risks, and bring up partner relations to resolve issues, right? So when you go into actually implementing open source or any other products, and you will find that there are risks, especially with open source, and we can help mitigate that piece of it. Now, we follow, this is something that, again, it's a middleware migration. This is what we do. I'm just reiterating that we eliminate vendor lock-in, reduce risk, improve return on value, improve agility, increase velocity. So how do we engage with clients, right? So we have a discovery session, workshops, and implementation. That's how we go about implementing our approach, if you will. And this is our solution framework, and their solution delivery framework, where we do the discover, design, and deploy, which is standardized but flexible. We have experienced clients and consultants and proven methodologies and results. So this is the framework, and if you adopt some of our, and we help you use this framework and adopt the framework to suit your needs. So whenever you are having this need to migrate from a legacy middleware to the modern technologies, we come in with this solution delivery framework, which allows you to compartmentalize and organize yourself so that you'll be ready for the end product that is enabled. Okay, so what do we do? Right, so before I go this is how we would, we can schedule a free discovery session with you folks, and we can work through how we would do it. But before I do this, I want to also show, and of course, I want to also talk about we were the Breakthrough Partner of the Year last year, and I would like to show you a demo. And since we have time, we have 6 minutes, and we can talk about the product that we have created. Okay, this is the product, and this is called Snap, a cloud native acceleration platform. So what it does is, what we've seen in our clients is that they are into developing this dashboard. One is to get visibility to everything that they do within their enterprise. For example, they want to be able to manage the cloud native platforms, like be it Kubernetes. So, and they also want to be able to manage their applications. They want to be able to monitor their Kubernetes environments. They want to be able to integrate, and they want to be able to also see how much it costs for them. Right, so we looked at this customer requirements, and then we built this dashboard and built this product or a framework that can be deployed to any customer. Okay, this can be provided as an add-on to the services that we provide. So that is something that we can work with you and see how we can incorporate this. This is built on open source. It actually goes through all your enterprise architecture standards, and anything that needs to be that we feel that you don't have as enterprise standards, we will come in and help you make it enterprise standard. And this is open source. Of course, it will help you. It will go through easily, right? So, for example, right, so we have this dashboard which allows you to look at the cost of each of your implementations. right? So here we have folks using different implementations at different clouds, and we'll be able to look at each of them and see what's the running cost, right? Of course, you can see the volumes, the networks, and everything. This is like a CMP or cloud management platform built exclusively for our integrations as well as for Kubernetes. Okay. This dashboard allows you to look at your clusters. It allows you to look at what alerts you status. It also allows you to look at the tickets. You can also look at manage your cluster. And here you see that we use tons of machine control here, which allows you to look at your cluster. So any of your implementations for integration, when you use or deploy Spring Cloud data flow, that will be visible to you as a cluster, right? That you can manage. And finally, integrations. This is a simple integration with the data flow visualization screen, and we have Spring Cloud data flow integrated. Of course, this particular product will be released and we are planning to launch this in VMware 2020, and that is there's on September 29th. So we would like you folks to join us for our VMware 2020 also, where we will be releasing this product along with VMware. Okay, so what you can do with this is basically what you can do with any Spring Cloud data flow. But the key thing is, with this dashboard, you will be able to see all the implementations of Spring Cloud, whether the number of instances, the number of integrations, the status of the integrations through the screen, right? And that is what this particular dashboard does for you. It brings in a view to all your Spring Cloud database and data flow instances. And while Spring Cloud data flow is leveraged as an orchestrator, there are other elements to it like Kafka, Spring Batch, and RabbitMQ, for example, where you can bring visibility to all of these transactions that are through this dashboard. And that is the key. And we felt that enterprises are working, spending a lot of money, spending a lot of resources to create this dashboard, and we have created this dashboard for them for that particular use case. All right, and so rather than spending 2 years and millions of dollars to get this dashboard up and running, we have this framework where it is deployable within your premises, and it's at in return for our services. So so we'll work out the terms with you in terms of how we would implement this within your premises, if you will. Of course, we bring in Ops Manager, which is nothing but the PK as Ops Manager, and I have and also the ticketing system. Your Ops Manager will give you the dashboard and where it is deployed. For example, here it is deployed in AWS. We have VMware Harbor Registry for all your Docker images, etc., and your enterprise PKs and Health Watch. Of course, you can also raise tickets. You can handle anything to do with incident management here, and also we have Grafana to visualize your traffic and your flows. So that is the essence of the platform. And with that, I think I have 36 seconds more to go. With that, I complete my presentation. Thank you for listening to me.
Thanks, Banu, for that great talk. Be sure to check out and continue this conversation by clicking the Join the Conversation link up above. That'll take you to the Slack channel where you can continue via Slack, and we'll also post the Q&A link for the Zoom Q&A after this.